Hey, welcome back to my channel and back to another review. So today I'm going back into Power Rangers Lightning Collection. I'm going to be taking a look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Tenga Warrior. Now the Tenga Warrior, I believe they first appeared in Power Rangers the movie, which I actually haven't watched. I've only watched season 1 and half of season 2 of the show, but they first appeared in the movie and then they appeared in season 3 of the show, if my research is accurate. So Hasbro put out another army builder figure, so we've had two versions of the putty, the regular putty and the Z putty, and we've also had a couple of monsters of the week, be it King Sphinx, who was the other one, Pumpkin Rapper, and now they're giving us the Tenga Warrior. And straight away in the box, I think the Tenga Warrior is probably the best villain figure that Hasbro have produced for the Lightning Collection, if simply in terms of paint scheme, because the Goldar figure they gave us was pretty poor. I've got him on the shelf here, let me just pick him up. So I'm going to go into a good comparison, but when this Goldar figure was released, see, I've got Goldar here, a lot of people complain that the paint apps are terrible, and I would concur with that. I mean, he looks like he's casted out of yellow plastic for the most part, so he looks more like a yellow Dar than an actual Goldar, and also he's too small. You know, Goldar was always quite an intimidating and imposing character in season 1 particularly. In season 2 they reduced him to pretty much the role of a bumbling fool. Now I've got to say that, man. I've got to say this. Something that really pisses me off about cartoons or children's entertainment is when they make the villains bumbling idiots. I mean, it really diminishes the level of threat. And I'll say this, man, when I think of great villains, for example, let's take a great cinematic villain, Darth Vader, for example. Darth Vader was never reduced to comic relief or the role of a bumbling fool. He was always a very competent villain, and that's what makes Darth Vader one of the greatest villains of all time, I'd say. But I'll use another example, right? Let's take Megatron from Transformers. Let's take Megatron from G1 in particular, the first 3 seasons and the comic book from the 80s, right? Megatron was never depicted as a bumbling, incompetent fool, and for the most part, neither were his minions. I mean, Soundwave was pretty competent in all he did. Starscream was pretty competent, except Starscream had his own agenda. But that's one of the reasons why I think Transformers is one of the greatest character studies, if you want to get into, you know, character motivations and psychology. But not to go too deep into that, but the fact of the matter is that Megatron was never reduced to the role of a bumbling, incompetent fool. That's why Megatron was a great villain. Who's another good example? Let's take Venger from Dungeons and Dragons. Venger was always shown and depicted as a very competent villain, and if I'm honest, when I was a child, he scared the shit out of me, man. I was terrified of Venger, but I loved Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Likewise, I was terrified of Darth Vader, but yet I still love Star Wars, because, you know, the villain was actually a real threat. So with Power Rangers now, when Goldar was reduced to just a bumbling fool, that's part of when the show kind of lost a bit of its edge, man. I mean, it started off pretty goofy, but towards, like, I'd say the later half of season 1, it finally hit its stride, and there were a couple of situations where Goldar was shown as a real threat. For example, the episode when Jason is fighting Goldar and he's not got his morpher and he's hiding in the smoke, that was a pretty cool episode, man. You know, it really built up the threat of these characters. But yeah, so that's that. Enough talk about Goldar and bumbling fools for a moment. Let's talk about the Tenga Warrior, because that's who this review is supposed to be about. So in the box you've got this very nicely packed, you've got a profile shot here, which is typical for all of the Power Rangers in this Lightning Collection. On the back you get a very nice image of the Tenga Warrior in a dynamic pose, and if I'm honest, it's very rare that this happens, but the actual figure looks better than the promotional shot. So I'd say the figure in the box looks better than the promotional shot. Now this is quite a weighty figure too. I mean, just holding him in my hand in the box has some heft to it, so they've really gone and tried to, I think, correct some of the mistakes they've made in this line so far, because as I said, a lot of people complained about Goldar and the lack of paint on Pumpkin Rapper and King Sphinx. So Hasbro's really taken heed and they've listened. So let's get him out of the box and have a look at him and see what we're going to say about him. Okay, so here we have the Tenga Warrior out of the box, and first of all I want to start with the tail of the tape. So let's see how tall this guy stands. He seems to stand at about 6.5 inches, which is very impressive. Very impressive, because as I said, Goldar was one of the smaller figures when he should have been a bit larger. But if you put Goldar next to this Tenga Warrior, if I can stand them up, Goldar is roughly around the same height. But as I said, I feel Goldar should have been bigger. I think Goldar should have been around the size of maybe King Sphinx, which is one of the reasons why when Super 7 is going to be doing their Ultimates Power Rangers, I may pick up that Goldar. I mean, I'm not interested in recollecting the Rangers, but maybe the monsters will be a bit cooler. But if I put Trini in the shot, you know, that's quite a nice scale between the Tenga Warrior and Trini, because that looks like, you know, a threatening size villain. You know, and when you're fighting a villain, you want it to be a good fight. So, you know, you don't want the villains to be too small. They should be, you know, a threat. So, yeah, out of the box, the paint scheme is phenomenal on this figure. If I bring him closer to the camera, there's a lot going on. You've got green, metallic green in the hair, and around his crest of feathers around his neck. You've got the purple on the body armor with some silver highlights. The paint carries down into the wings. You've got, you know, the metallic green at the bottom, slightly less vibrant metallic green on those wings, and even on the legs. The paint apps are really great. They've not gone cheap on this figure, which has been a complaint of some of the other figures in this line, that they've kind of gone cheap. So Hasbro have really listened. And he comes with some accessories too. Let's talk about his accessories and then we'll talk about his articulation. So he does come with quite a few extra pieces, more than most. So they've really, I think this figure is a real labour of love on Hasbro's part. So first of all, we get the egg, which is what these Tenga Warriors hatch from apparently. So that's okay. You can, it's got a little hole in it. I'm not sure if that's where you're supposed to put your thumb through. Let's have a look. I think it is. Oops, a wing has just dropped out. I'll get into that in a minute. I'll explain how the wings work. But yeah, you can put the thumb through the little hole in the egg and he can be holding it like that. He also comes with he comes with 2 clenched fists for punching attacks. So he's got two clenched fists, and he comes with 8 wing parts, and one of them seems to be missing. Just great. Don't know how that happened, but I'll find it. I always find it. But so he comes with some extra wing parts, right? So unfortunately one of them seems to be missing, but there should be 2 at this size. Yep, 2 at this size, and I'll pick these. 2 at this size, and 2 more at this size. So I've actually found the part that was missing. Thankfully, I always do. I don't panic because I always find the things that I lose track of. But here's the other one. It was still in the bag. So here's the other one at this size, okay? So as you can see, these wings are detachable. You can have him just straight up without any wings if you wanted to. And this would be cool. You know, he still looks like a monster threat. But let's first of all change the hands out. You pull the hands out and it's quite easy to remove them. Nice long peg pin there. And you can put in a punching fist. Like so. And that's how the punching fist will look. So that's pretty cool. You can get some body shots, some straights, some uppercuts, some hooks. You can do it. You can do it all. So that's that. So let's talk about these wing parts, okay? So you've got two options of really how you want him to be. You can either have him with extended wings as if he's flying, or slightly closed wings as if he's stationary. So let's put the slightly closed wings in their sockets. Now these do. The smaller ones go in. It's quite straightforward how they fit in. There's a smaller section and a larger section. So the smaller ones should peg into the smaller hole. So let's try that now. Forgive me, I'm just doing this off camera so I can try and get it right. So, yeah, as you can see, it slots in there. So let's put the others in. And there is actually the grooves inside the sockets here are cut a certain way, so the right piece will always line up with the correct piece because they've each got a different interior shape in the groove. So it's not hard to figure out which goes where. Just a little bit of trial and error, I think, and you'll get there. But once you've done it once, it's pretty straightforward to do again. There we go. So this is how the Tenga Warrior looks with a slightly closed wing span. There. Now let's put the larger wings in. So you remove these just by pulling them out. It's the same principle you will apply again. Pull them out and you put the correct pieces in. So this one, let's put the large ones in first. Let's go there. Does this go here? Yeah, it does. See, like that. And let's do the other arm. Forgive me, this is a bit stiff to get this one in. Yeah, I'm just doing this off camera because it's a little bit easier to line it up off camera. But I've got it in now, so let's get back to it. Yeah, so that was that. So here he is with his extended wingspan. And I kind of like this look because you could use the feathers as kind of like, I don't know, I'm just imagining, you know, these feathers could be razor sharp, so you could be like, you know, or you could shoot feathers out when he does that kind of thing and as projectiles. I don't know, just having fun is pretty cool. But you can get him to look like he's flying, like this. You see, that's pretty cool. Like he's coming in from the air to launch an attack against the Rangers. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm very impressed with the parts you get, because you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 parts. Yeah, 4, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13 pieces you've got with this figure, which is an impressive accessory count. And also you're getting all these paint apps. So this is a really, really cool figure, man. I'm very happy with this. So let's talk about his articulation. So articulation wise, he can look left and right, up and down. His beak actually opens and closes, so you can have him screaming with his beak open there. He can tilt his head a little bit, just a little bit. Now in terms of arm motion, you can rotate his arm up this far, and then the armour slightly hinders it, and same going backwards. Outwards that much. He's got a butterfly joint inside the elbow, which is good. As far as arm articulation, he's got upper bicep swivel, and he has single jointed elbows, which isn't bad. You get that much of a bend in it. He has wrists, as I've shown, you can change them out, and he has he can do a sort of inward and outward motion on his wrists rather than up and down, which is fine. He has a torso cut, which allows him to have a waist swivel. His wing just fell out, let me get that. Right. So, where was I? There we go. He's got a torso cut so he can swivel. He can also rock back that much. So the wings are in the way. Rock back that much. And ab crunch forward too, that much. He has, that's that there. An actual ab crunch joint he's got, which allows for further bending. But it's better to use the upper one because it's more easy to access. He can kick forward that much, yeah. He can split to the sides almost fully. He has an upper thigh rotation cut, so you can rotate his leg. He's got double jointed knees, which is interesting. I believe that's a double joint, and that allows for that much of a bend. He has an ankle pivot, and he can move slightly forward and back on the ankles, or I should say up and down. So that's his articulation. I think that's plenty of articulation for a figure of this size and scale. And you're not going to have a hard time posing this guy because you can get some dynamic poses going on with him, you know. I'll just give an example of one here. And he's got a good centre of balance too. So like he is a bit top heavy, but his feet are quite large. So that allows you to stand him quite stable. He can be quite stable in his stance. So let's get him on a rotation. There we go. So yeah, I mean, this is quite a cool figure. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. And it's very welcome to have another army builder figure in the Lightning collection, because I've said it before, but you know, as a child, army building wasn't really something that was an option because you know you've not got your own disposable income. But as an adult, whoa, army building all the way, all the way. So it's nice to have this villain to complement any putties that you may have. Got a couple of putties here. Let me put them in a shot. You put these in the mix. Just give me a moment, and I'll grab a couple stands. Right. So here we have putty, a putty. There we go, let's put him in the mix. So yeah, I mean, you can start diversifying your army of enemies for the Power Rangers, which is really cool. Let's actually do some comparisons with some Rangers. And actually, I've got a little something here. I'm going to get another, because I've got two Tenga Warriors. Let me get another one out and put him in the mix and see how they look together. Okay, so while I was just taking this second Tenga Warrior out of the box, I did notice something interesting. As you can see in the clear plastic tray, all the parts are stored here, and there's a couple wing parts which are attached to the inside of the box. As you can see, I've got to cut them loose. That's fine. But I just noticed something. In this vacuum formed inner plastic tray, there is actually space for 3 other parts here. I'm not sure if those would have been individual feathers that would have been packed in as accessories. I don't know, but it just seems very interesting that there's space for some parts which don't actually appear with the figure. And I forgot to mention, he does actually come with an energy effect, which is this white energy effect here. So when I get him out of the box and I do some posing, I'll show this energy effect in action. So he actually comes with 12 accessories, which is very interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure what these mystery indents were for here. I'm thinking maybe they were little feathers. I don't know, just guessing, but no major loss. We've got a lot of accessories with him anyway. Okay, so here I have the second Tenga Warrior out of the box, and I've attached both fists to him and the smaller wings. So what I'm going to do is show how this energy effect works. So I guess in theory you wrap it around his arm, something like that. I guess that's how it goes. I mean, we've seen this energy effect before with other characters such as Billy and Goldar, maybe even Jason had the same energy effect, but this one's in white. I think it might look good with the White Ranger actually. Let me see how that would be. I think it might be really cool to have the White Ranger with that energy effect. So yeah, let's try this out and see how it looks. So I've got Tommy here. Just take Saba out of its sheath. So here's Tommy with Saba, and let's put this white effect on Saba itself. I think that looks cool. I think I'll be using that for I'll probably be using this energy effect for Tommy because it looks really cool. Look at that. That's really awesome. So yeah, let me get these guys posed up and I'll give my final thoughts. But before I do, just a quick comparison. So as you can see, by changing the wings you can make these Tenga warriors look somewhat more individualized than just having them be straight up carbon copies. So it's good that they gave you that option right there. Okay, so that's my review of the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Tenga Warrior from Hasbro. What are my thoughts on this figure? Well, I think this is a great figure and an even better army builder. As you can see, I've got two here and they look great facing off against Jason and Tommy. So it's very nice to have more army builders in this line, and you can really start to create some dynamic scenes such as what I'm depicting here, and action shots with more villains, you know. This figure, I say, is really good for what it is. It's really good. I think I would give it about a 9 out of 10. I mean, I'd highly recommend this to anybody who's a Power Rangers fan, especially a fan of the Lightning Collection, forgive me. And I think Hasbro deserves acknowledgement for having listened to complaints from fans about some of the problems that have troubled this line, such as lacking paint apps or inaccurate paint apps, and accessory count. This has a lot of accessories. I mean, okay, I know a lot of it is wing parts, but the fact of the matter is that Hasbro has given us a lot for compared to, for example, compared to what we've got with other figures. Other figures have come with much fewer parts, but these are really cool. They feel of a solid build quality. You know, they'll stand up to dynamic posing and even playing. If you've got young children who would be into playing with this stuff, I mean, I think these figures are very sturdy. Articulation wise, there's nothing lacking. I mean, you could put these figures in pretty much any pose you would want to. Only thing I would say is that they're a little heavy. So when I say heavy, they're not heavy, but it's just for the flight stands I've got at the moment, these guys don't really fit them too well, which isn't a problem. I mean, you can make flight stands quite easily, but I'm not going to say these should have come with a flight stand because they already come with quite a heavy accessory count anyway. But just the thing that, you know, the flight stands I've got an old school Mattel flight stand here, which they won't fit on too well. I also have some Storm collectible stands, and I have this DC multiverse stand, and all of them are a bit the clips don't fit on these Tenga Warriors too well, which isn't a fault of Hasbro's. You know, I'm glad these figures have this sort of size and heft, but it's just I think if you do manage to find a flight stand that will fit these, you'll get even more fun out of them, because then you can have them in flying poses as if they're swooping in just to attack a ranger at any minute. So yeah, man, there's a lot of play value here, a lot of display value, and overall I'm very happy with this figure. So yeah, as I said, a solid 9 out of 10. So that concludes my review. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please keep tuned to this channel because there's going to be a lot more reviews coming soon if all goes well. And thanks for watching so far, and I'll see you on the next one.